My sister and I are Irish twins, but if you looked at us, you would think we were twins. We've got the same round baby face, it's never gonna go away, the same button nose, and the same long, thick, straight hair. We're from a town called Hanover, Pennsylvania. It is the snack food capital of the world. You can thank us for Utz potato chips. Other than that, it's a lot of farmland, a lot of Confederate flags, and a lot of Trump paraphernalia right now. So, pretty good image in your head right now, right? It smells like chips and bigotry, so should be Hanover's new slogan. The town's very traditional when it came to gender roles. Young women were expected to have long hair and wear dresses and wear makeup. And if you were slightly different, you were talked about. And I remember as kids, the night my mom sat my sister and I down and she said, "I would much rather you bring home a black man than another woman, but don't you dare do either of those things." And I remember thinking like, what? It's a really weird rule to have. I feel like I've done much worse already, so I can't imagine where this is gonna go. And unfortunately for my mom, I was not like the other girls in my class. And in the way that I was clumsy, I had a lot of opinions. I wore a lot of t-shirts from Hot Topic. That was mainly my wardrobe. And my two major crushes were Robert De Niro from the 1970s hit Taxi Driver and Robert De Niro from the 1990 hit Goodfellas. So line up, gentlemen. But I noticed early on that my sister was different in the way that she didn't want to date boys. And she had a general disinterest in boys, where I really wanted to talk to them. I was just too awkward, but she just generally could care less. And I had a feeling pretty early on that she was gay, and not just from that, but also she, woohoo, she had a crush on Pat Benatar that far exceeded any 80s fan. And it was the kind of crush where you knew she would have married her if given the chance. So, but I didn't know for sure, right? And I definitely couldn't confront her about it. I could only hope that she would come to me when she was ready. And until then, I would at least be able to help her in high school when our friends would do shit like this. They'd go, "Karen, Jeremy is so into you. He's cute and he's tall and sure he's a little boring, but he's into you, so you should date him." She'd say, "No, it's not like that. We're just friends. Just forget about it." Her little cute, soft-spoken voice. And then they would come back to me and say, "What's wrong with your sister? Is she gay? She never even wants to talk about boys. What the hell is going on?" And I would always deny it. I don't know if that was the right thing to do, but I figured it was better than having high school rumors about her sexuality going around. So that part was easy, right? But the hard part came with my mom. My sister and I had been in the tennis team, so all the time in the sun had turned her hair this long golden blonde. She could have been Miss Hanover if she really wanted to. It was lovely. And so my mom, of course, loved this hair, and she would say things like, "Oh, Karen, get mascara on those blue eyes to go with your blonde hair. Karen, let's show off those tan legs. Those boys are gonna be running up to the door. Jen, why don't you part your hair to the side like your sisters? You'd look so much better." And it's still there if you can't tell. Never changed it. And they would, my mom would call me the smart one and my sister the pretty one. So, yeah, good times. When my senior year of high school, my sister went away to college 6 hours away. And I was devastated, but I was also really happy to see her get out of our conservative town. And it only took 2 months before I got this phone call. "Do you have time to talk? It's kind of important." I had a feeling I knew it was coming. The past 2 months she'd been on the rugby team and I'd seen all those pictures on Facebook. I knew. And yeah, all the guys that she was friends with were just friends, so I knew. So she starts slowly on the phone conversation. "You know, I've always been kind of weird about guys. You know, I've been on the rugby team with a bunch of cool girls." And she's like, "I'm gay." I was like, yes! Yes! It was awesome. I finally got my whole sister, and it was so great. And I was so happy for her, but I also knew that she was gonna have to tell our mom. And that Friday, I came home. She was home for fall break, and I came in the kitchen, and from my sister's long hair, I see a face of just discernment, basically, and I see my mom, and I just freeze. And my mom's like, oh, so I guess you already knew about this, huh? And so we sit at the kitchen table, and it's silent for a long time, and I do want to make one thing clear. I knew in my head that my sister came over everything, so I was ready. Like, whatever was going to happen, I was going to defend my sister no matter what. And after a few minutes, all my mom said was, I'm just really scared for you. You're not going to be able to live life as a normal person. And my sister just like begged her not to tell anybody until she kind of figured her stuff out. She was like, please just let me kind of figure out who I am before you go calling everybody. And my mom just went ahead and called her family and friends like right in front of my sister. Not really sure why she did that. Moms are wonderful, aren't they? And so my senior year, I graduated, and then I decided to go to community college and stay in Hanover because apparently I couldn't get enough of this town. And my sister, unfortunately, did really well with rugby, but kind of struggled in her classes, and so she had to come back home and drop out after a year. So she went from finding herself and being really excited and being around all of these women that were confident in themselves and their sexuality to coming back to Hanover, Pennsylvania, where she had to keep her hair long and wear feminine clothing and had to hide herself all over again. And you know, all the women she dated would also introduce her to their friends as a good friend because they were closeted as well. And to top this off, we got estranged from our mom that year, and my sister and I had to bounce around with friends and partners and family for a long time. And it was really hard, and it was even harder to see my sister struggle like that. And one thing I knew for sure was that I had to get her out of Hanover, Pennsylvania. I had to get her out of Pennsylvania in general. And I thought at least this part of her problem, I could make our problem. So, you know, a couple of years later, we found ourselves in a group house in Brookland, DC. And my sister had effectively won over one of our female housemates. And she had been talking for a few months at this point about cutting her hair off, but she was nervous, and I understood why. That hair had represented all of those traditional values our hometown held about what it meant to be a woman. It allowed her to kind of hide herself and be a straight woman if she needed to be, and so cutting that off would make people have an idea about her before she even got to introduce herself, right? So it didn't matter though, because one day I was sitting at home and I saw her walk up with this short, handsome, Justin Bieber looking haircut. And it was amazing. I started crying like a little sis, but it was amazing. I finally saw my sister, this confident person that she was always meant to be, and she chopped off that security blanket. But it was the sister I'd always known. Thank you so much.